Welcome back to I Did This Instead of Killing Myself, the stand-up comedy podcast based in New York City. I made it. Oh my gosh. We're in my new apartment. If you're watching on video, you can see I've not unpacked a lot yet. But I'm so excited to be here. This is we are in Queens, Astoria, Queens, which is where Coming to America was filmed, where King of Queens was based on, where George Costanza's old parents lived. Dude, I'm a kid in a candy store here. Also terrified and don't know. I miss everyone already. I didn't think I would be. I don't know. I came last weekend to like drop some stuff off and I was excited, but now I'm just really sad. So thank you. If you're watching from Greenville, I miss you guys. And big thank you to Ben Jennings. Last week we had a roast show that Ben put on and for Alexis and me, and oh my gosh. You guys are huge assholes, but we laughed a lot at that show, and I cried a lot afterwards. It all hit me on Thursday when I was moving stuff out. And dude, I'm sentimental. I wept like a baby. So thank you everyone for coming and for saying bye. That was really special. And I care about you guys more than I realized, because I don't cry. Maybe I do cry a lot. I don't know. I cried. So come visit. We got space. And it's pretty cool. I don't know if you could see in the video, but behind us is, you could see Manhattan. It's about a 30-minute subway ride into the city. And so come up, say hi, do stand up here. Hope you all continue to watch. We have like 7 more episodes of Carolinas people before I start annoying New York people to try and do comedy and interviews. Moving stuff up sucks. This is a 5-story walk up with no AC. Maybe we'll do a tour when Alexis gets here. Pretty peaceful. She's going to be mad because it's messy. But anyway, very excited for our guest today. We have a friend of some comics. This guy has done stand-up, but he's done a lot more. Our guest today, J. Curtis Strickland. He's described by somebody else who we did an interview with as the most interesting man in the world. Jay is a musician, a monk, actor, adult film star, kind of, not really, bullshit artist, Marine, friend of Adam Schulte and Todd A. Davis, most importantly. He's also the host of the Tea and Fuckery podcast, and he has merch that he sells and designs. I'm rocking one of his shirts, really cool. This is the guy from, it's a band shirt, and this is the guy from Indiana Jones. Isn't that badass? A little scary, but Jay's awesome. I did an episode of his podcast before, and he came on. He's lived in LA. He's acted, performed with bands. He's got a lot of interesting stories. On this interview, we talk about celebrity interactions, and we learn he's had one story where he met Rory Scovel, one of our favorite Greenville comics, on a film set. Also talk about other celebrity interactions he's had with Kelsey Grammer. We'll learn why Kelsey Grammer's the man, and Seth Rogen. Real asshole. We also talk about relationships, stalker exes. Jay shares his personal religious beliefs. He's a member of the Hare Krishnas. And we discuss the Bhagavad Gita. A lot of interesting stuff in there. This dude's fascinating. And we kept going for a while. I hope you enjoyed the interview. I think you will. Normally at this point, I would announce the local shows, but I'm not going to do that anymore because I'm not there. But please follow Greenville SC Comedy on Instagram for information about local shows. We have no idea who's running this account. We think it's a local comic. It's like a mystery. We don't know. But you can follow Greenville SC Comedy for any info on local shows. And I think they're going to be updating it weekly. So great resource. But anyway, thanks again for supporting the show and for saying goodbye, everybody. Love you. Miss you. Have a great week, and I hope you enjoy the interview. Here it is. Yeah. There's like one line of defense between the address and the location. Yeah. What's up? Welcome back, everybody. J. Curtis Strickland.
David.
welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me. It's been a long time I've wanted to do this show, and I figured I would have killed myself if I hadn't had the opportunity to do it. So I'm really grateful to be here.
Yeah, dude. I'm happy to have you. And you, you came swagged out, and you
Swagged out.
Yeah.
I got my Sun Studios shirt here, where Elvis and Johnny Cash and all the greats recorded in Memphis. So
okay.
yeah, man.
Yeah. And I did. You sent me a little podcast interview to like check out, and the guy, the Lord. Shout out whoever that guy is. I don't know his background.
That is Lord Nelson. He's the singer of the band Stuck Mojo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy gave you a fantastic intro. He said you're the most interesting man in the world.
I don't know about
One
that.
of.
Probably the most crazy in the world.
Yeah. And all your rap sheet: musician, monk, actor, porn star, vegan. I tried to, am I forgetting any? Marine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot
Bullshit
Marine.
artist.
Bullshit artist.
No, all that's true.
And friend of Adam Schulte, which is
Friend
a
of
big
Adam
one, because
Schulte
that's how you and I connected.
And Todd Davis.
And Todd A. Davis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we talked. I think it was like over a year ago.
Yeah.
And I did your show, and thank you again for having me. That was
Dude,
awesome.
and I went back and I re-listened to the episode, and I'm always kind of skeptical of myself. Like, I end up listening to the episodes as like an analysis of myself to kind of critique what I'm doing and how I speak and what have you. And we had a really good flow, man.
Yeah.
It was really good. I really enjoyed it a lot. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you're always welcome back.
Yeah. I appreciate it. And that podcast is the Tea and Fuckery podcast.
Now it's called the TNF podcast because I wasn't getting a lot of traction on YouTube because of the swear word in the name.
Yeah. As somebody with a volatile name of, suicide, I appreciate that you Tea and Fuckery.
I kept going on YouTube looking for your podcast, like old episodes and whatnot, and it was like, are you thinking of ending your life?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
Well, don't entice me here.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
really bad.
Yeah.
Didn't think of that, but for search engine optimization, it brings up the suicide hotline before anything else.
People probably end on some list somewhere, like,
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no. It was great, man.
Yeah, for sure. So since it's been a while, how do you know Adam and Todd?
So Adam, he and I have been friends for a really long time. He's a really great dude. We've traveled on the road together. I did technically do stand-up a handful of times on the Emotional Reassurance tour with Adam Schulte and Craig Longino and Chaz Scoville.
Yeah.
And that's an
Dude, Craig and Chaz are great. I literally just saw Craig at a show recently.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he comes to there's a mic here. Coffee Underground, have you been to that one?
Yeah. I went to a few with Schulte and those two. I think we did a few dates here, and then there were some other ones in Georgia and Florida.
Okay.
But it's a great little venue. And Craig Holcomb.
Yeah?
Yeah, he
Saw
was
him last night?
emceeing. Yeah. It's good to hear that Craig and Chaz are still performing.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't seen Chaz in a minute, but he does come out occasionally.
Nice.
And big fan of his brother Rory.
Okay, so I have an interesting story about Rory.
You do? Okay.
Can you believe it?
Yes. Well, no, I can't, but Rory, seriously, one of my favorite comedians. Maybe my favorite, actually.
He's pretty fucking funny. So I did this film called The Legacy of the White-tailed Deer Hunter. And it was directed by directed by Jody Hill, and it had Danny McBride was one of the writers on it. And I just show up to be conventional background, I mean, that's probably about the en masse as far as my acting career is concerned.
That's the biggest credit?
No, not the biggest credit, but like, what's that guy's name? Cole Sprouse or whatever, the guy that's like got a whole IMDb full of background work or whatever, which you're never supposed to put on your IMDb. But I ended up doing that, which is funny because I've been vegan for over a decade, But I was
what's the name of this movie again?
The Legacy of the White-tailed Deer Hunter.
The Legacy
it's
of the
on
White-tailed.
Netflix. Yeah, and
so we could find you on Netflix if we pulled the.
That's part of the story.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I was there and I was just sitting downstairs waiting to be called up or whatever, and they said they said, John Strickland, can you come upstairs? And I said, sure. And they said, you've been upgraded to stand-in. And I said, stand-in? I said, okay. And they said, what do you want to eat? And I said, well, anything that's vegan, and you know, on film sets, if you say anything vegan, they're like, okay, here's a salad, and I'm like, it's the saddest shit on the face of the planet. Can we swear on here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
Fuck yes.
Fuck. I don't want to. I don't want to get you like flagged or anything because I know if you say too many swear words, then it's.
Maybe that's hurting the algorithm. I don't know.
Mine's called tea and fuckery. So,
yes. Who cares?
That's why I got very minimal subscribers right now. But so they upgraded me to stand-in, and they said, you're going to be a stand-in for Rory. And I'm like, Rory? I said, why does that name sound familiar? And come to find out, they went and introduced me to him. They said, oh, this is Rory Scovel. And I'm like, I know your brother. Like, we went and did a stand-up tour together, and he was like, oh, cool, And then I watched, I guess he was on The Tonight Show or something.
Oh, yeah. He's been on Conan a ton.
Conan, that's what it was. Yeah, and he was hilarious, And so it'd be like, the scene was a dinner scene, and it would be, there was Josh Brolin, it was Danny McBride, Rory, and his really hot wife that was way out of his league, and the character's league.
Okay.
Why were you going to say
character? I was going to say I've never seen Rory's wife. In real life.
Well,
I wonder how hot she is.
This was the woman that was playing his wife, and oh God.
Wait, so you see all of these people? You're right there for your stand-in?
Well, this is how it works. I mean, I don't know if you've ever done like background or extra work or whatever, but like stand-ins, they go in and they sit down and they'll adjust the lighting and do all that stuff. And so you have to kind of look like the character that you're standing in for. And Rory was a little bit taller than me. Right. So I had to sit on a booster seat. And they lit everything according to, how I looked. And then they'd be like, all right, first team go in. Yeah. And then all the real actors would come in and, Josh and Danny and then Rory. And Rory's hot wife was in the whole time. They didn't have a stand-in for her because she didn't have any lines or anything. Okay. I wish I knew what happened to her, too, because I was supposed to hang out with her a few times, but it just never happened, I was trying to get her to cut my hair and do all this stuff and be a skis. Yeah. And that was basically what it was. And it was like, I'm right there. I'm right there, and
dude, how do you feel being around celebrities? I fangirl out completely. I mean, I keep it inside, but dude, I love celebrity sightings. Like if you told me right now Josh Brolin was walking around downtown Greenville, like we could shut this off and go find him. Like,
it's interesting, and I don't want to sound like pretentious or anything, but like, my dad used to drive for musicians, and so I've kind of been involved in it for a big portion of my life. And so I got to meet a lot of musicians and, living in Hollywood, like I was telling the story in my podcast, like I'd see Alicia Silverstone all the time at like the farmer's market. And, I guess it would depend on the celebrity. Like if I met Harrison Ford, I'd lose my shit. Yeah. I'd be like, I got to go in the other room. If I met Eddie Murphy, I'd lose my shit. I mean, there's a select few that I'm like super enthralled and inspired by, those two having been two major like inspirations as far as my performance career. But en masse though, if they're cool, that's great. But there were kids that, I went to the Stella Adler Academy in Hollywood, and there were kids that would go.
It's an acting school?
Yeah. Okay. It was a pretty prestigious one. Stella Adler, she was part of what was called the Group Theater in New York, which was founded by Konstantin Stanislavski, that also produced Lee Strasberg, Sanford Meisner, Udo Hagen, all those people. Okay. But Stella Adler is famous for training Marlon Brando. Oh, wow. And so, a lot of these kids were super enthralled by the Hollywood lifestyle, and they would go and show up at like, the oh God, that name is eluding me right now, where they hold the Oscars, which was right down the street from me. That theater.
It's the name of the theater. Okay.
It's named after not Kodak. I don't know. Anyway, they would go and show up there and be like trying to catch pictures of celebrities and stuff. And I'm already in my mid-30s, so I was just like kind of nonplussed by it. I mean, I don't geek out about shit like that very often because they're human beings and they're
No,
people.
totally.
And
Totally.
the whole like Gaga factor kind of turns a lot of people off. You know?
Sure, it does. I know how to act, and I do act pretty, but deep down, I do love seeing them. I appreciate I fucking saw that person that made a huge impact on culture somehow. Like whatever, they're famous for a reason. I'm just like, that's fucking cool.
I'll tell you 2 celebrities I had the privilege of doing security for at a club that one I would be happy to meet again.
For sure.
The other one, not so much.
Yeah.
The first one is Kelsey Grammer. He is fucking awesome.
I love Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah, he was a class
dude.
act. He got up and did karaoke. He did like David Bowie and Frank Sinatra and was just super nice to us on our staff. Seth Rogen is a fucking prick. That guy is a fucking asshole. He just wanted to know where he could smoke weed and wouldn't shake our hands or do anything. And, it's amazing to me that
it doesn't surprise me that Seth Rogen's a prick.
And his acting is whatever, I liked him in Disaster Artist, and he's all right in Superbad and stuff.
I saw him do an interview where he was talking about. Well, I saw him do one where he and James Franco had like a separation, and James Franco kind of got canceled, and then he did an interview where he was talking about how he didn't want to have children, and his tone of just talking about, I don't want kids. Like, why is that a big... And he was so defensive about it.
Right.
The tone of what he was talking about how he did not want kids. And it's fine if you don't want kids. Totally fine.
Right.
But the way he was saying it, I was like...
Yeah, I saw it. He was kind of condescending.
Yeah. And very just like, I don't know.
Well, did you see the Twitter exchange between him and Casey Neistat, where Casey Neistat was like, you'd have to be a fucking buffoon to live in Los Angeles at this point of time. And he's like, I've got my car stolen 15 times. And, and it's like, you might want to get out, dude.
Impression.
Well, he's in the Super Mario Brothers movie, which was kind of a downer.
Yeah.
But, I had to go see it. And
haven't seen it.
Oh, dude.
Massive film buff, by the way. This
little bit.
Yeah.
It was good. Jack Black is really good in that, and I'm more of a Tenacious D fan than Jack Black's acting, but he plays as Bowser in the movie and plays music and stuff, and it's how unprofessional I am.
What the fuck?
Do you want me to answer it?
Go ahead.
Okay, it's from California.
All right, this could be Josh Brolin on the
Hello?
line.
Oh, I think you have the wrong number. but she's my girlfriend, so maybe, try another number. It might work. Okay. Yeah, it's 867-5309.
You taking this down?
Okay, thank you. Shit.
They're trying to get a hold of your girlfriend?
No, I changed my number because I had a stalker, and it was getting bad. It was really fucking bad, and I don't know if anybody's ever had a stalker, but it is not cool. Like, you think as a guy it would be cool to have a stalker. It is so not cool.
Damn.
And so, yeah, I had to change the number. I don't know if she was a stalker or she just really didn't know how to convey that she liked me or something,
Okay.
It was like some Glenn Close, like Fatal Attraction shit.
Interesting.
Let me turn this fucking thing off.
Okay.
But
so you're going back to the celebrities you had seen that 2 of them stood out.
Yeah, Kelsey Grammer and Seth Rogen.
Okay.
Who else? I did security for Patton Oswalt. I didn't really talk to him.
Okay.
But he seemed like he was pretty cool. Don Coscarelli, director of Phantasm, was awesome too.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're just people. They put on their pants like everybody else. And did you ever hear the story about Michael Jackson when he wanted to just be a normal person and shop at a grocery store one day?
No. Tell me about it.
It was sad, like you don't really get the experience of, like I said, just being like a normal human being. And they shut down a grocery store, excuse me, so he could just go in and shop and just
like a Make-A-Wish kid, like
yeah, pretty much. I mean, his face is falling off, so I guess that's probably
I just want to be normal.
Well, and I feel bad
that does suck. You're right.
I feel bad for the guy because he had kind of a fucked up childhood, and Joe Jackson I mean, he was like cracking the whip on those kids, and
Yeah.
and they just, some of them made it out of it. I guess Janet's all right, and some of the rest of them, but yeah.
Yeah, so the parenting style of the Jacksons with the Jackson 5, Joe Jackson's the dad, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he drove them to, practice, rehearse.
There's a really good made-for-TV movie that was on, I want to say ABC years ago, and they were Jehovah's Witnesses, and
Okay.
Jehovah's Witnesses are notoriously cheap,
Mm-hmm.
like a lot. One of my friends was a Jehovah's Witness, and he was like,
Sorry, Michael Garrick, if you're watching.
Oh, don't be disfellowshipped.
Actually, he was disfellowship because he did comedy. So
Really?
yeah, shout out Michael
So you're gonna have
Garrick.
to tell me about that, but like, unless it's,
No, go ahead.
okay,
Go ahead.
So there was a section in it where, and I was gonna say, my buddy was like, hey, I think there's a lot of people that join the Jehovah's Witnesses just so they don't have to buy gifts for the holidays for their family, But there's a scene in it where they were like, Dad, we want a color TV, and he's like, we're not gonna color TV like that, and just. I think they just want to be misers,
Mm-hmm.
So wait, no, okay. This fellowship thing is always interesting to me because it's
Yeah.
like, it's so heavy,
Mm-hmm.
like you can't talk to family members and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, honestly, I don't have a lot of detail around it. I mean, I knew him since he started comedy, and but yeah, I think for whatever reason, I mean, and Michael is he's the nicest dude in the world, so it's really, and not even like a dark, dirty comic. So like even the nature of what he was doing wasn't really,
So you can't do stand up if you're a Jehovah's
I don't
Witness?
know if that's true. I don't know, but it I know he's not a part of the church anymore.
Jeez.
So
Well, I mean, the Hare Krishnas are very similar in that, if you go against what they call the party, which is ISKCON, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, you're essentially disfellowshipped.
okay,
And there's a lot-
What is HISCON?
ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. It's like essentially the Vatican of the devotees.
For Jehovah's Witnesses only, or is
for
that
Hare Krishnas.
For what?
Well, so I'm a practicing Hare Krishna. I say practicing. I'm
Okay,
smoking.
educate me. I'm an idiot.
Okay, so this is
No.
where the former monk thing comes in. I was doing political activism, and I was just like, with the. Can we get into politics? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
sure.
Cool. So like, the left, they don't really have any goals. Their goal is chaos. They just want to create destruction and confusion. And I'm currently reading Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals.
Okay.
And so, and that's one of the objectives in there.
Yeah.
And so I was involved in the Occupy Wall Street movement for a moment. I'm like, what are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
what's the end game here?
Yeah.
What do you guys want from all this?
Yeah.
And they couldn't really give an answer, And so they, I just got real disenfranchised with that. And I said, I did like the typical like 60s hippie thing. I'm like, well, I'm going to join the Hare Krishnas. And I happen to have friends that were involved in it. And so I did. But they have a strong...
so if you had to outline the tenets of the Hare Krishnas, like what?
Okay. So the Hare Krishnas, the goal of Hare Krishna is to know and love God. And, I have my vices. I was initiated. I guess I kind of went back on my initiation vows, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to get off the caffeine and off the tobacco and all that. But
So that's part of it, as a part of.
it's not really a part of it. It's more so, they say you can do what you're doing. Like if you were a stand-up comic, you could continue doing stand-up comedy. Just add Krishna into your life. Just Krishna consciousness is knowing and remembering Krishna. And
What's Krishna?
well, Krishna is
God.
do you want to hear a funny story about Krishna?
Sure.
Okay. So there was a few devotees, the followers of Krishna, and they were going to this like VFW hall that they had. They were trying to get supplies and stuff for some event that they were having, and there was like a Black Hebrew Israelite group that was in there that was like preaching like all sorts of very militant, staunch views and whatnot. And one of these devotees was black, and they said to him, they said, brother man, they said, what do you believe in? And he goes, well, I believe in a black God with a white girlfriend. They're like, oh, word? Like that. And basically, Krishna is, we revere Krishna as God. And,
Okay.
you know, how deep do you want to get into this?
Continue.
The idea is that you're supposed to keep Krishna omnipresent in your daily, you know, doings and whatnot. And there's what they call 4 regulative principles. There's no intoxication, which includes caffeine, tobacco, things like that, marijuana. No gambling, no meat eating, fish or eggs, and no intoxication. I follow 3 out of 4 of these right now. Which
so no alcohol? Is that
no alcohol? Yeah,
okay.
I mean anything that like the Christian church would consider to be a vice.
Yeah,
they kind of don't like, you know, sans the meat eating part, you know. So, yeah.
And you got the vegan thing covered there.
They do not like vegans.
They don't.
They do not. They hate vegans. They consider vegans to be atheistic because the truth is that vegans are, you know, the veganism actually started as kind of like a offshoot of Buddhism because Krishna descended as the Buddha in order to deceive people from using the Vedas, which are like the Hindu holy scriptures, for meat eating and animal sacrifice. Now, there was provision for that in the Vedas before, but when they would sacrifice a cow, the Brahmins, which are like the priests and whatnot, they would sacrifice it in the fire, and it'd be an old cow, and a new cow would be born from it. A baby calf would be born from it. But people took that to mean, okay, we can just kill animals willy-nilly.
Yeah.
And we can, you know, just eat meat and whatnot. And Krishna descended as Buddha, was like, nah. He was like, follow me. And, you know, that's why you go to most like East Asian Buddhist temples, and, you know, they're typically vegan.
Yeah.
And they believe that unless you're drinking milk from the cow, which is meant for higher brain function, that unless you're doing that, you're an atheist.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's pretty hardcore.
It is
Wait,
hardcore.
so you said something in there. So Krishna descended as the Buddha?
Correct.
So God became Krishna, this God became Buddha. This is what okay.
Yeah, the Buddha that Krishna descended at is not Siddhartha Gautama, you know, what we know as the modern Buddha, the one that sat under the Bodhi tree and whatnot. But there are actually different incarnations of Buddha as well. And he happened to be what was called the Shakti-Avesha avatar, which is somebody who descends for a specific period in order to achieve a specific function. Like the devotees revere Jesus as one, they revere Muhammad as one. I don't, but you know, they consider these people to be enlightened spiritual beings that are intended to preach to a specific group of people at a period of time. Some people consider Haile Selassie to be one.
So they're an embodiment of this, you know, higher power that can access, or so that the people in the time that they were living could access the truth.
David, I thought we were going to be talking
right?
about horrors.
I know. We can.
All this heady, like,
we'll get to the
esoteric
horrors, but I'm
stuff.
trying to understand. I'm just trying to understand. That's kind of what it is. It's the embodiment of God in different periods of history, so that those people can access the truths of
correct.
God.
Yeah, like a messenger. That's why,
a messenger.
You know, I have a big problem with Christianity in that they believe it's the only way to salvation, and I'm like, have you known any other way? Like, have you done your research on any of these other like religious sects or anything like that? And,
yeah.
You know, if you grow up in the South, as you know, many of the people around here have, it's kind of sheltered, and a lot of this information is kind of not accessible. You know, but
yeah.
So now with, you know, the advent of the internet and things like that, it's more available and it's more readily out there. And it really just spoke to me because I never believed in the concept of eternal damnation. I said, how could a loving God send somebody to perish in hell forever? You know, and the devotees believe in...
This is what you believe, the devotees?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they believe in reincarnation, which you think reincarnation sounds cool, right? It is not cool because the whole idea is to get what they call back to Godhead, and you want to be able to ascend to the heavenly planets which is Goloka Vrindavan. That's what they call it in the Vedas. And so people are like, oh, I could come back as like a fox or like a wolf or something. And it's like, that's not the objective, because then you're trapped in that body, and it's harder to remember Krishna when you're at these lower levels of
consciousness,
of sentience. The human form is considered to be the highest form of sentience because we have the capacity to understand God. So when you take a human body in reincarnation, it's a very auspicious thing, and we're able to essentially go and enjoy with Krishna again if we're able to remember him at the time of death.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that's a lot to process.
No. I'm fascinated by these beliefs. So so the goal, if you're is to become like enlightened, I guess, is
more or less, yeah.
To where you're really in tune with this.
Yeah, and I mean, the idea is just to kind of remember Krishna in all aspects of life. I happen to forget him very often, but
so if you remember him at time of death and you're like embodying that, what happens then? What are you reincarnated as? Or do you not get reincarnated at all? Do you just become one with
you merge.
Krishna?
Yeah,
you merge with
you go and your soul ascends to Goloka Vrindavan, and you
What's that? Goloka Vrindavan.
It's like heaven, or like, Muslims call it paradise or whatever. And then essentially you're just you have no other obligation than just to have fun.
Yeah.
So the material world is considered to be like what they call a middle planet, where there's heavenly and hellish conditions here.
Sure.
But
that sounds about right.
Yeah, especially the Carolinas.
Yeah,
There's some good aspects of it, and then you go down to like Colombia, and you're like,
a little hellish in Colombia.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm fascinated. In fact, like, a question I ask a lot on here is, do you believe in God? I ask guests and like what they believe. So this is pretty fascinating to me.
Yeah.
So,
do you believe in God, sir?
Yes. With I am very. I've had to do some unwinding in the last 3 years since doing to really look at what I believed.
Right.
Because doing something creative, like you're creative as an actor, musician, all that stuff, I jumped into creativity. I was a pussy most of my life. And I think I talked in terms of expressing my real self.
Yeah. I was like, you're a football player, man. What are you talking about?
Dude, yeah, that was the one time I wasn't put a helmet on me and I'll fuck people up. But it was only because I had a lot of repressed shit.
Right.
I found out, I think that was what was coming out.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm like in the process of like reintegrating kind of what I had internalized as my religious beliefs as a child that were very rigid and dogmatic. And I'm not saying they're wrong, but my internalization of them definitely was wrong, because, how I live now feels better. It feels like I'm open. I'm way more open than I ever was. Sure. Before it was kind of like, I know the answers. Let me live up to this standard. Now I'm like, I'm not sure. I really don't know about a lot of stuff.
And that's not a horrible place to be at.
No, it's way more freeing. I used to think not knowing was a position of like where it'd be scary. But I'm not fearful. I'm hopeful. And I am really curious about some of the other religions, what they have to say about things.
Sure.
So if you could like connect kind of, you said Christ is one, because I'm really interested in Jesus, because, obviously, evangelicals talk about Christ all the time, but a lot of other, religions do, focus a lot on Christ. Like how does Jesus fit into your belief system as one of the embodiments of Krishna, I guess, or just...
Well, he's not per se an embodiment
or a messenger. You
said?
Said?
Like I have like I've mentioned this in other podcasts. I have a different appreciation for Krishna now that I've become more versed in the Vedas, because I understand the importance and the significance of him. I don't follow him per se, but I'm not the kind of person to be like a detractor from anybody that does. I almost consider it to be like okay, here's how I do it. It's like a ranking system.
Okay.
And I'll go ahead and rank what it would be almost like different tiers of school. Of course, I'm going to put the Vedas as the highest, right? I actually rank Buddhism lower than Christianity, and the reason is because they don't believe in a personal God. Buddhism is essentially atheistic, right? Buddhism believes that they're going to merge with what's called the effulgence, or the impersonal Brahman. and that there's mention of that in the Vedas. Are you guys getting all this? There's mention of that in the Vedas, but it's not the ultimate goal. It's more like a limbo per se.
Yeah, because once you
Purgatory.
die in Buddhism, you just kind of become one with everything, right? Your consciousness just
You become nothing essentially.
which basically means nothing,
Right.
because if your distinct identity is gone,
Who wants that though?
no, nobody. Like what? That's basically you die, nothing happens.
Right.
That is atheistic. I hear what you're saying.
And then I would rank. I don't want to give him too much credit because I kind of have problems with the tenets of Islam, but I would say Islam below that. It would be like elementary school, and then Christianity would be like middle school, and I would say Judaism and Catholicism probably like high school.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
This is really helpful, this metaphor. Keep going.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, this is just there's no real
but
writings that say that, but
it's a helpful.
It's I'd say they're like high school or like undergraduate studies, and then the Vedas would be like your graduate or doctorate studies. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, that's just again, this just comes from personal experience and beliefs. I don't, there's no mention of that in the Vedas. That's just kind of my perspective. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. And to clarify too, when you said the belief of when you die, if you're in a good place, you go to this version of heaven.
Right.
You're still you in that. Right? I'm just confirming that.
Well, I mean,
Does your consciousness as you, Jake Curtis Strickland, are you still you?
I hope not.
Yeah.
I'd be a pretty terrible person. One of the things that I have the biggest problem with in America is how we have so much allegiance to identity.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm white, I'm black, I'm Christian, I'm American, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And we have to look at each individual body as a soul.
Sure.
And so, when everybody's like, oh, this person is X, Y, and Z, it's like,
yeah.
nah.
No,
Like,
I agree. Totally.
Like, let's just treat them like they're a normal human being,
Yeah.
You might find out something fascinating or something interesting about them,
Mm-hmm.
It's not meant to be taken as, like I said, identitarian politics. I have a huge problem with that. I have a huge problem with it. And so that's kind of how I choose to look at the world. Like, we're all in this together. We're not matter. As Yoda says,
not this crude matter.
Beings, we are not this crude matter.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
And Yoda's pretty enlightened. And I think Lucas was I think he was into Buddhism.
Yeah.
I think
He borrowed a lot of archetypal ideas from
Joseph Campbell.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I think all this fighting and all this division and stuff, I align with a certain political side, but my spiritual path supersedes all that.
Sure.
I think it's just
I asked the
causes us to
question
fight.
because, and I totally agree with the, over association with material things for your identity, whatever it is, and detaching from that is so healthy.
Oh yeah.
If you can let go of some of that.
Yeah. Agreed.
But what I would like to believe is that in whatever afterlife may or may not be, that I could still recognize other beings as who they are or someone I knew. That's what I would like to be able to do.
Yeah. Do you feel like, okay, because this will seg off into another discussion, marriage, if you ever saw
Marriage.
Do you feel like you've met people that either, like girls you've dated or friends you've had, like where it's like, I feel like I've known you before?
Yes. I've had specifically people that have shown up in my life where I know it's not the other person, but I'm comparing them to another person in my life, and their personalities are so remind me of another person,
Right.
that I'm like, oh, you're this version of this level, the video game I'm on right now. Like it's you're the same. Yeah, I really feel like that, and it's strange. And obviously, there's probably idiosyncrasies that make them different.
What video games are you playing?
Oh, I don't play video games.
Oh, do you not?
I suck at video games.
Oh.
I don't have anything against gamers.
Even
or anything.
Madden?
I sucked at Madden.
Really?
Terrible, and never really got a lot out of it.
You know what's the worst is when you suck at Call of Duty.
Yes.
When you've been in the actual military and you're like playing against kids that are like 14 and 15, and it's like,
You're not good at Call of Duty?
I used to play it, but it made me really angry, and so I only play just fun video games now.
For sure.
Playing Link's Awakening.
Okay.
I know they just released a new Zelda, but I ended up buying like 5 Zelda games for my Switch.
Okay.
But then I would just get high all the time.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I was never consistent with one game, you know?
Yeah. But getting back to why'd you ask that? You asked, if I've met someone that I felt like I knew before. What is this reincarnation stuff?
Somebody was telling me about the twin flame theory. Have you heard that?
No.
Oh, so like the twin flame theory is like, you meet somebody and you're like, I feel a connection with you, and like I don't know. I thought I met a girl. I don't know. Maybe she's still eligible or whatever, to where like, I was like, I feel like a really strong connection with you, and like, as far as like dating's concerned, I'm done with dating. I'm fucking done with it. I am ready to court. You know what I'm saying?
You're ready to court.
I'm ready. I think I'm ready to get married, And
Hell yeah.
That's a little intimidating to some women, but it is what it is. I just want.
A lot of women are looking for it, though, I think.
Are they really, though?
I don't know.
Are they really? I think they're still. I think our society has placed like this de-emphasis on marriage, and that we're, you meet a lot of 30-year-old cat women and stuff that are just like, oh, I don't think I need to marry. I don't think it's important. And then when they look for marriage, they it's all the wrong qualities in a guy. It's always, I wish I was taller. I think I've got my height going against me, truthfully. But they always, they look for Chads, and like I've got some Chad qualities, I think, but like I'm not. There's a uniform in the South. Tell me you recognize this, where it's like it's like the Dockers, the cutoff Dockers, the polo shirt, the mesh baseball cap,
the Clemson class ring,
and the wraparound sunglasses. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
that's all of Mooresville, where I live.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really disenfranchising because I stick out like a sore thumb in LA.
Yeah.
And like even there, it might be a sore limb,
Yeah.
Because I'm really just.
Yeah.
I don't fit in at all.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's really interesting, the tension between like this pressure to, front and put on this uniform, and to have this persona on social media, because women do it, guys do it.
Yeah.
Fuck, I do it, to a degree. I try not to, but like, there's a really good podcast interview. It's the Modern Wisdom podcast. I don't know if you listen to that one with Chris Williamson. He had this guy on. I forget the guy's name, but he's like this dating coach, I guess, and he's from the UK. And it was a really in-depth interview. It was like 2 hours long, and it wasn't like pick up that stuff. It was kind of about the state of things when it comes to men and women trying to find relationships. And there is this tension, because on the one hand, I think there is a genuine desire for authentic connection and love. But I think a lot of people feel like in order to get it, they have to project this image, but that's not the real them. Well, so it's like, to what extent can you be the real you in the face of these pressures to project a false you? Yeah. And, there are a lot of criteria. A lot of women do, judge based on height or, whatever.
Financial status,
things like that. But it's kind of a shame there's such an emphasis on that, because it's like hard to crack through that to like get to know
I think most girls just want to match you when they go out. They want to be sure that their guy matches them, and they don't.
Status. Yeah, resource, like, yeah, all that shit.
I think women are more concerned what other women think.
Mm-hmm.
I think women are
100%.
concerned. They can like a guy all day long, but if their friends don't like him,
Right.
you might as well forget it.
It's almost more important sometimes that the friends like, yeah. There's another podcast interview by the same guy, and he had a woman on, and it was about the evolutionary motivations of women, and how I had no idea. And the woman who spoke on it, like, she was a woman, and it was coming from like a lot of research, but how evolutionarily, like, they use gossip as a weapon to protect themselves. Yeah, and it's all about reputational warfare.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Can you go deeper in this?
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try not to butcher it because it's been a minute since I listened to this. But essentially, before modern man, men were out hunting and fighting. Women were to garner safety. They had to acquire allies. So women would, develop friendships with women that were of similar station. That's why really hot women, are often ostracized by a lot of, women that aren't as attractive. And it's all about how can they angle to give themselves a better chance with the fittest male. So they'll form alliances, and they form trust by expressing authentic vulnerability. So if one woman shares something that, is embarrassing, or something that could really, come back at them, then that other woman could be like, okay, I can trust you as a friend, and we'll form this little alliance.
Right.
And then they'll use, if they want to get a woman out of a certain group, they'll say things. And you hear women say things like this in modern society, where they'll say something that's not really, it's kind of wrapped as something that's not a dig, but it really is. Like, they'll say, I'm just really worried about Katie's drinking or something. And they'll just throw that out there.
That's mean.
AKA
really
Katie's a fucking alcoholic, and they'll gossip like that, and it's vicious, and it's this whole world that men are clueless to.
Yeah.
When I listened to that, I was like, oh my God.
Do they do that with guys too?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Well, I don't know. I don't think guys. I don't know.
They are talking all
getting
sorts of shit about me.
Oh yeah.
Oh dude.
Okay, I'm sure they talk shit about guys too. But
yeah. But is that like a maybe not a defense mechanism, but more like an offensive mechanism? Like, this is mine right here.
Sure.
Blah blah blah.
Sure, I think it can be. I think, but it's because it's not physical violence or physical. It got transmitted into this kind of reputational warfare, I guess, as well. And they care about how many partners they've had. Like
Ooh.
Yeah.
Whoops.
For a guy, porn star over here, yeah. And so that's important. Like, you want to be viewed as a high value mate. So if you slept with a ton of people, that they don't like that, getting
I slept
around.
with one of this girl's friends, but I think she set me up, dude. I think I was set
I need
up.
a piece of chocolate.
Go for it, bro.
Yeah.
I think she set me up. Yeah. Well, they got my address, and then all
Is this a stalker?
I don't really want to call her a stalker. I think she's just a tryhard more than anything.
Yeah.
She they got my address, and then all of a sudden I started getting all these matches on Tinder, like, hey, you want to smoke weed and hang out? I'm like, this is too easy. I'm like, how? And you can triangulate where you want to search for your Tinder date based on their address.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fucked up, if you ask me. It's a fucked up mechanism. I don't know if that's what happened, but
yeah.
She kept mentioning her friend, and this girl had the same name as her friend, and I'm like, something's going on, something's up, and I don't know, like, this could just be me reading into it or whatever, and yeah.
So same name, and you slept with the other one?
She was like, here's
you didn't look the same, but same name. I mean, I don't know.
No. She was talking about her friend that had the same name as this other girl, and I was like, oh. I was like, wait, what? What did you say? You know, like, and then she was like, I think we should just hang out and smoke weed, and I was like, Get in there,
Yeah.
you know, like, let's go, you know? And then
Yeah.
she was like, I liked what we were doing better. I was like, get your shoes, get out, you know? And I
Yeah.
sound like a total pig, but like,
Mhm. Yeah.
I didn't really come to that realization that I think I wanted something more until I realized that this is futile and this is useless, you know? I don't really like, I get no emotional fulfillment from it anymore. I get no like satisfaction.
Casual sex?
Not really.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
agree.
And I mean, I got to have my era of hedonism when I was back in LA, and it was great. You know, don't get me wrong. But
Yeah.
it just doesn't. It's not as good as having something long lasting.
For sure.
And, you know, you can't really grow with a person when you're just having one offs. You know.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, so that's
100
kind of my thoughts on the situation.
Yeah, well, yeah, the inner life of women, that was fascinating. It sounded exhausting to me. Because if that socially is something that's on your mind a lot about, you know, your friendships and how you stand in the eyes of other men and women, and I mean, guys, we think about it too, but
Do not
Man.
be friends with women. Do not.
Be friends.
No.
Be
Acquaintances.
be nice is what I was
okay,
gonna say.
don't be a dick. I mean, and I'm notorious.
That's a pretty
for,
good life philosophy in general.
Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. I'm not like I ride the line, and sometimes like this is like the bipolar thinking in me, where it's like I'm either too much of a dick, or I'm like, hey, you know, let's hang out, let's go watch movies, you know. And so I really have to kind of find that balance, you know. But like,
yeah, yeah, you're either too much of a simp.
Too much of a simp
or
or
too much of a
prick.
douche.
Yeah, exactly.
Split the difference.
I'm more of a prick than I am a simp lately, which I think is probably better off. But you know, you got to really find that perfect kind of balance. You know,
Yeah.
like, don't bend over backwards to help them, but simultaneously, hey, how you doing? You know,
Yeah.
like your one friend was saying, what's happening? You know,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you should get into stand-up, dude. Although, well, okay, so I would just say, like,
I want to.
because I want to tell you where I'm at on my simp meter.
Okay, go for it.
Because I don't know. I mean, I tried to be nice, and you know, with what?
I'm looking for something.
Oh yeah, we forgot.
Well, because
Yeah.
I wanted to say those two girls, Liz and Whitney, were really fucking cute. And like the one girl, Liz, man, she was about you, man. I think.
Oh, she's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She was something else, man.
Yeah, you know, she's great. She's a socialite of Greenville, as she says. And Whitney's, she's out in L.A. now.
I know,
so,
and
yeah.
I missed it.
Yeah, yeah.
Not to say that anything would have happened, but
No,
you know
but
what I'm saying.
But I found, okay, so a couple of things. Like, as soon as I got sober, it immediately, well, it was amazing, and you're sober too.
Sort
but
of.
like the approaching, the cold approach at a bar is now like
Harder.
You know, very much, because
Yeah.
you're really aware, and you're also aware of how annoying you could come across. So
Sure.
like, I'm ultra. I went from being, you know, pretty bold when I was drinking to
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'll talk to a girl, I'll go right up. You know,
Oh, yeah.
no issue. And then, you know, you just retreat and don't do it at all. And then now I'm trying to like be like, okay, you don't have to like keep your distance. Like, if you see a
Right.
cute girl and she looked at you, there's no problem going up and saying, hi, my name's, you know,
Yeah.
David. Hi. Like, hey, what's up? And then once the ice is broken, you know, it's fine. But like, that is to me like one of the hurdles I'm working on right now in terms
Were you
of
a
like,
slayer when you were drinking?
oh, not really.
No.
Not really.
I feel
No.
like you would be though. I mean, you're
I mean,
almost. Like,
well, I was
this place is amazing. Like, this guy's tall. He's got the flowing locks. Like, he should have it going on, man.
No.
Hit Liz up,
No, I
man.
do-
Let's call her.
I mean, I do. It's hit Lizzo up.
Yeah.
Shit,
Not
yeah.
Lizzo. Liz.
Lizzo? Oh, Liz.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know Lizzo. Give her my number.
No. No.
But yeah, no, it's fine. I don't mean to like say I'm like I never date or anything. I do, but it's that's like the thing I that's the like, you know how when there's something that you know you have to get over, like you see and you know you have to do that thing. Like there's a like stand up like was that like that for me. Like I got to get on stage the first time, and as long as I would be like, oh, and then I did it.
Yeah.
You know,
How's
it's
that going for you, by the way?
fucking great.
Yeah.
I love stand up.
Nice.
As much as I did if more than when I started.
Nice.
Yeah.
But that was you felt like that was the hurdle you had to overcome.
Yeah, that was a hurdle of expressing myself authentically to others, and then now it's like with another person and sharing your whole self with that person.
Yeah.
And in a real relationship, you have to kind of be that open for it to really work. And I was probably closed off in my past relationships in my 20s, where like, yeah, I was in a relationship, but I was still all over the place. Didn't know myself that well. Wasn't opening up because I didn't know what I would even share.
Or maybe you just didn't know how to speak that language then, you know?
Yeah, definitely not. I hadn't done any work on myself. I was just...
Well, and that's kind of my thing too, is that I just didn't really feel like I was in a position spiritually, mentally.
Yeah.
I'm still working on the physical aspect, you know? I just feel as though, and I still have work to do. I mean, I think we all do. It's just one of those things where it's like, you know, you gotta, you know, when you're ready, you know, you're like, and I'm at this point where I'm like, I'm ready, you know? So, call me. You know, it's one of those, one of those hurdles you have to surpass where, you know, you got to be happy with who you are, you know?
100%.
And the woman has to love, as Chris Rock says, the crust of the motherfucker, you know, like
the bad parts,
all the bad stuff, you know, like you gotta, and that's something you have to contend with too. But, you know, simultaneously it's like, okay, I might have been, a useless meth user at one point in my life, which I was.
Okay.
And I still have my teeth, thank God.
Yeah.
But you have to, you know, you have to be able to like contend with that and be like, well, you know, this was me. But simultaneously, you know, to go back to Yoda again, when he talks to Luke, he's like, never his mind on where he was, what he was doing. You gotta be like, okay,
always on the horizon.
Yeah, you know, like you got to be like, what am I doing now? And like, okay, you know, like I said, I've been with several porn stars, you know, and it's like, okay, they've been with like 400, 500 dudes, but like, are they still active in porn? What are they doing now? Were they a sex worker? Were they a drug addict? You know, and it's like, yeah, those things they have some sort of bearing on your, you know, your future, I suppose, but you shouldn't let that be a hurdle.
No, you shouldn't judge somebody for their past.
Right.
I was talking about this on stage last night actually, but social media, I'm trying to have this epiphany with social media, and it really hit me on Sunday because it was Mother's Day on Sunday, and I couldn't, oh God, it was just to me, it was so in my face this year.
Yeah.
All of the posts about, I love you, Mom. I love you, Mom.
You were saying that, and I thought you were doing a bit.
It was disgusting, dude.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
And to me, and no disrespect to people who post, it's fine.
Yeah.
But it just kind of hit me of like, this is all for external validation.
It's for pandering.
And there was this complicity in it because like all of these, like everybody's liking each other's, and it's like, it's just this like, you know, enclosed thing. And it just really, really turned me off to the point where I was almost depressed by it. And also in thinking like, I'm the exact same way. Like I do stuff like that. And it really made me think about, you know, how much of a negative impact is social media having on me personally. And, you know, because if you think about anything on social media, and like podcast notwithstanding, I'm not going to quit stand-up or the podcast. I'll die before I do that. But like, it's really activating everything in me. It's activating that thing in me that cares about what other people think. And that's the part I'm trying to shrink or kill. I'm trying to just be myself without any sort of fear of external validation or whatever. Sure. I mean, you want to produce good stuff, but like, you know, so I don't know. How do you feel about social media and its role in maybe some of the problems we have today?
I think given the nature of our trades, we have to use it.
Oh, 100%.
I don't particularly like it. Mm-hmm. There was a period when I was, you know, in my monk tenure where I was just completely off it. I didn't even have a cell phone, you know.
How did you feel during that time?
Great.
Yeah.
I will say my monastic trajectory, I feel like was some of the best experience that I had in my life. And I did it because, with the devotees, you can also opt out of, I did it for 2 years. The temple president was like, okay, if you do this, can you commit for 2 years? And I said, yeah. And I'm glad that I did, because I knew that if I couldn't commit to 2 years of celibacy, that I would not be able to commit to a marriage.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and
so
I'm
2 years. And how old were you when you did this?
I was 30.
30.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's pretty unusual, because most Indian males, they do it when they're 5 up until age 25, and most of them end up getting married. I mean, you have to be a really, really exalted special soul in order to stay the course of that for your whole life. It's hard.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
And I'm.
What were those 2 years like? I mean, you no social media, no, like, did you have any contact with the outside world, or were you like on?
I mean, I would talk with my parents and whatnot, but I stayed in the temple in Gainesville, Florida, and I just didn't. I didn't want any distractions, I wanted to be able to serve to the fullest of my capacity. And, it was great, man.
Peaceful?
Peaceful and very, very few responsibilities and obligations other than doing your service, you know, and, but see me, I've got kind of a flirty mind, and so it was really hard to kind of rein that in.
Yeah.
And the temple president's like, I don't think you should stay brahmachari. I was like, yeah, I don't think I should either.
Dude, it is hard. Like, that's one thing. I mean, it's not even a bad thing. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Like that natural attraction. Like if I'm out and I see beautiful women around, I'm like, yep.
I had to start saying on my Instagram feed.
It's like I can feel it. I'm like, bro.
I started having to do on my Instagram feed, because I had a whole bunch of big booty thoughts on there, where I had to start liking all these pictures of Krishna, and then all these big booty thoughts would keep showing up, and I'm like, not interested. Like, why? This post made me feel uncomfortable. And then it's like, they're still doing it. They're still slanging it at me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like...
But what if you transpose that into real life and there are a bunch of big booty thoughts in front? To me, I almost feel like that's not that bad.
Oh, I mean...
I would love to be surrounded by beautiful women all the fucking time.
Well,
because they're,
here's
whatever.
The thing.
But
there's so many, beautiful, chaste women that end up joining the movement. But the thing is, they get married off so quickly that, it's such a niche... It's such a niche religion and a niche spiritual culture that, you really got to snatch them up quick.
Yeah.
Or they will get snatched up, and no women with children. I ain't playing somebody else's save game. Let's be clear on that.
This is a dating show.
I mean, my mind typically goes to this sometimes, because it's on my mind, but. Yeah, that's a prerequisite. I don't want to do olds anymore. I don't do fats. I hate to sound like a pig, but when you say that, they're like, "Oh, every woman thinks they're fat," and I'm like,
no.
But the little thickness is not bad either. You know? I don't mind that so much anymore. I used to kind of like women that were, I don't want to say thin, but shapely. But man, I got with some in the past that were just like. One of the porn chicks was just like, she was perfect. I was like, oh my God. She's like, oh, I'm kind of worried. I was like, don't even worry about your weight. It's perfect. Stay the way you are.
Yeah.
Great. I love it. So.
Oh man. Yeah. Shit. Where were we going with that?
Big booty thoughts.
Big booty thoughts. Social media. Yeah. Oh yeah, I really think that social media. I mean, I'm trying to do this. Like what I want to do now, and I don't know. It's been a day of this. Literally, today is me trying to cut back
on social media.
Yeah. So
okay.
I woke up today and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna. I flipped off all the notifications on all my junky social media apps.
Right.
Because I thought about it. I was like, look, I can still post content when, on the schedule that I do anyway. And what do I do when I normally post? I'll post and then I'll check it in 20 minutes, be like, how many people liked it? I'll be like, is this being well received? Maybe I'll share it on my main page or whatever. And I'll let my mood be kind of dictated by its reception. And you kind of get in a pattern of that.
Right.
And so I was like, what if I just didn't open Instagram all day today?
There you go.
Didn't open Twitter all day today. Didn't open. I haven't. And dude, just like the past 8 hours, I've noticed a huge. Oh, it was a lot more chill, way more chill.
Because you're not looking for that validation, and
Right.
that's essentially your consciousness being put out into the ethos. You're just saying, "I'm posting it and I'm letting it ride."
Yeah.
And it seems to go.
It is
that
the
much
same
better.
exact thing as would be anyway.
Sure.
And you know, and I don't know. I'm curious to see like how it feels, and hopefully I can continue to like.
I was
stick
about
to
to.
that,
I was
but-
about to say, would you like some advice? And
Yeah, sure,
That's
please.
that's what I do. I because I think in our professions we do kind of seek a small amount of validation, and so to be able to kind of detach from that, just post, let it ride,
Yeah.
and then just be like, let's see how receptive to people are to this, because you don't have that in your frame of mind. You'll probably get a better reception because of it.
It's
You
so
know what I'm
ironic.
saying?
Yeah, and then stand-up is identical to that.
Take these glasses off.
Yeah. There we go. We're gonna blind you with these lights here.
No.
But stand-up is identical. So you talked about trying stand-up.
Yeah, I
If
mean,
you try to make the audience laugh, they won't.
Yeah.
Like you have to be your authentic self, and it's like the purest, harshest environment
right.
where that is exposed. You might as well be naked up there because there's nothing that's going to happen until you start expressing yourself.
And Schulte says that too. He's like, don't go out there with the intention of making the audience laugh.
Yeah.
He said, just go out there, do your thing. If
Be
people
yourself.
like it, that's one thing that Krishna consciousness kind of talks about is don't be attached to the results.
Mm-hmm.
Whether good or bad.
Yeah.
Because you could be attached, you could be getting a lot of good response, and then you're just like, oh, okay, I'm doing all right. And
Yeah.
then, for whatever reason, it just, you kind of meditate in that and you dwell in that. And
For sure.
so-
Yeah, it's like one of two things can happen. If you post something and it crushes, it gets really good response, you'll focus on that and you'll be like, dude, I'm the fucking man, which is not good,
No.
And then oppositely, if it doesn't do well, you're like, oh fuck, like I'm a bad. No, you're who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
And the more you can, do that, I think the healthier you can balance it. It's just so, because self-promotion is tough.
Yeah.
And you want it to go well, and you're happy if it does, but it shouldn't be the only thing that matters.
Because that can totally supersede your ego, and then you end up making stupid choices,
Mhm.
and like
Yeah, then you go down a path of like, oh, they like that, so I'm gonna do
more of that.
more of that instead
Yeah.
of just, okay, that was good, but
Maybe try this. Or-
yeah, I kind of want it to look like if you ever look at the picture of the S&P 500 over the last 100 years,
What is that?
stock market.
Oh, sure.
know the
Yeah, I
S&P
knew what
500.
that was.
Yeah. So it's the same concept as long-term investing. You invest every month. You invest money. And I highly recommend anybody do this who's listening. Just brokerage account, invest money. Whatever you can part with, $100, $200, whatever you can a month. And no matter what the market's doing, because it'll go up and down, but it's like a yo-yo on a stepladder. It'll keep going up. If you keep being
Okay.
yourself, maybe one post won't hit, another one will. But over time, if you keep being yourself, you'll probably learn to be braver, learn more about yourself, get better at that, and you should get a response. And if
Yeah.
you don't, fuck them.
Fuck
you
'em.
know?
Fuck them.
That's how I like to think of it, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, just do you, and the rest will kind of fall into place. I
for
think.
sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's my big dysfunction, caring about what other people think.
Well, again, I think to a certain degree, the only time I care about when people are think about me is one, when it affects my money, and two, when it affects my money. Like if you're trying to like fuck me over on a financial deal or whatever, I'm gonna care.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I'm gonna care what my wife thinks.
Mhm.
Not to say that I want to be like a pleaser by any stretch or simpy by any stretch of the means, but
There's a
I do
difference.
want to have a level of awareness as far as like, am I doing the right thing? I guess you could say.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, man.
So you were in the military.
I was in the
Marines.
military. Yeah, Marines. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What anything interesting about that experience? I mean,
I got battalion level NJP, and I almost got
What is
demoted
that?
because of that.
what does that mean? NJP?
It means non-judicial punishment, which is
Oh shit.
yeah. I'm notorious for this gesture. I think I'll put it on my tombstone someday. We were all kind of in uniform, and we were just all flipping the bird or whatever, and our base executive officer caught wind of it, and they decided to demote. Well, not they wanted to demote us, but we were going to get attorneys and everything. And our sergeant major, whom we respected and trusted, he goes, "Devil Dogs, get in here." And we were like, "Okay." And he goes, "Just sign the fucking papers," like that. We were like, "Okay." He's like, I promise you, we're gonna be able to get out of this, you know." And I said, "Okay." And so, you know, we did that, and you know, God, I remember this, man. We went in there, and they were like, you know, Sergeant so and so, Lance Corporal so and so, and then they were like Lance Corporal Strickland, and they were like, you know, every time I look at this picture, it just disgusts me. And I said, so don't look at it. You know, I was thinking like, we could just burn this and just forget this happened. But it was around the time of 9/11, so it was real a politically sensitive climate that was going on. And you know, they said, "How much time do you have left on the base?" And we all told us, you know, how much time we had at that post left. And he goes, "I expect 100% behavior out of you guys from here on out." And
This was just for flipping people off?
Yeah. But again, like I said, it was around a time when having America in a bad light would have been a bad look.
Was this around the time of Abu Ghraib or whatever?
God, I don't remember. It was like a few months after 9/11. And
shit. Okay.
It was almost essentially like COVID for us. We couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't leave the base. And when they finally gave us like off-base liberty and whatnot, I was attached to the provost marshal's office, which is the police. And I wasn't a MP by trade. They needed extra security and whatnot, so they gave me a badge. And you know, we're alone with our own minds, and we're just like, you know, like fuck it or whatever, and took a picture, and somebody found it, and they said, okay, fuck you guys.
That seems a little uptight to me, but it is.
Yeah, but also simultaneously, I was able to understand because you know, it's all about impressions, you know.
Yeah.
And I said that. I just said that I didn't really give a shit. I will tell you an interesting story. Around the time that this was happening, it was my birthday, and they said, "All right, Strickland, you're going to go to the base dinner." They had dinner for all the Marines that you had to go to, and the commanding officer and the sergeant major was there as well. And I'm a notorious troll. I trolled my own prom. I trolled Valentine's Day when I was in elementary school. I shaved my head completely bald and bicked it. I took a Bic razor to it, and I wore, Schulte will know this band, Converge. There's an album called The Poacher Diaries, and it's got this angel with its head being crushed. And everybody else is wearing a suit and tie, and I showed up like just not giving a fuck. And everybody was trying to stifle their laughter. Even the sergeant major was like,
yeah,
because he didn't like the CO, you know. And you know, I didn't care, you know, and that level of lackadaisicalness in my life, it's sometimes been beneficial, but it's also been detrimental. And you know, I think you should present your authentic self, but simultaneously, like, don't go too overboard.
Toe the line when
I was gonna wear an Indian headdress and shit like that, and like, you know, just be a total fucking goof. But then I was like, you know, I was listening to Landau, your thing with Landau, and he's like, yeah, some guy coming up there with a cowboy hat and a cowboy, you know, and it's like, that's too much. You know? So yeah, totally. The glasses were enough. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that type of rebellion makes you sound like you know, a musician. So, which you are.
Dabble a little bit.
You're an artist.
A little bit, you know, jack of all trades, master of none. Sure.
So tell me about the music stuff. So what do you play? And like, what is your passion with music? And do you still
Jew harp?
Jew harp
No, I don't
for
play
Schulte.
Jew harp.
Yeah.
I think I might be Jewish down the line somewhere. My mom's got a very Jewish last name,
Yeah.
Mayer. No, I don't play the Jew harp. I play guitar, bass. I sing a little bit. I play a little bit of piano. I played trumpet in high school.
Okay.
It's one of those things that I wish I got to pursue a little bit more professionally. I mean, I guess kind of my height of fame was playing opening for Hatebreed, which there was probably about 2,000 kids there, which was awesome.
Hell yeah.
And we'd ousted our singer from the band because he said, no, I can commit to 2 bands. He was playing in another band at the same time. We're like, nah, get the fuck out. Which is fine because I'm actually directing a music video for his new band, and no hard feelings or anything. Yeah, we got to play to a huge crowd, and Hatebreed ended up thanking us in one of their albums.
And you were playing guitar for this?
I was playing keyboards initially, which I had never played keyboards before, but we were kind of like a synthy Under Oath-ish type band.
Okay.
And then they moved me to vocals, and I was in really good shape at the time. I was fucking cut the fuck up, and I'm out there treating it like it's a Biohazard or like a tough guy type band, you know, and it was fun. And
this was in front of those 2,000 kids?
Yeah. And it was a fucking blast. Yeah. And
dude,
a shining moment that I'd hope to recapture again some of these days.
Yeah.
I've just kind of been with the hardcore scene and just, doing
Hell
that.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So
that's so cool. Performing in
Yeah.
front of 2,000 people and belting out a song. I can't imagine.
yeah. Trying to play with some other projects now. It's just hard because hardcore is a very niche genre. And not to say that I wouldn't play outside the genre. I just don't know if I'd have as much fun with it, Because it's this great emotional outpouring where you're just, you're up there for 20, 30 minutes or whatever, and then it's done. And then you yearn for that 20 or 30 minute slot again. You're just, it's like a drug, You're like,
yeah.
Oh.
Now, when you go out on stage, or maybe that time or times you performed, like what are the nerves like?
I'll say this because it's also like have you ever done a play? Well, you said you did was it South Pacific or Guys and Dolls or something?
Music Man.
Music Man. That's
years
what it was.
and years ago. I probably almost shit my pants for that. I would love to do a play now, but it's far enough away that I don't recall the exact emotions about before going up.
My experience was that I those first fucking ice those first few minutes before you go out onto stage, you're nervous. Your nerves are on high alert. But then once you're out there and you're in it, it's just like boom, you know, like all that kind of just goes away. And it's one of those things where you're like attached to the results, and you're like, I just noticed 1984 down there. Nice read. You kind of do care to a certain degree. I think that's like a self-preservation moment where you want to do good, you want to perform well,
and you want to feel the audience with you.
Sure.
And you can definitely feel that as a musician,
and
right?
there's this tension that eventually just it will dissipate, provided you're doing good. When you're kind of sucking, which I've been there before. Like with stand-up comedy. You're just like, oh god, I can't wait for this to be over, type thing. But
for sure,
if you're not concerned about how it's gonna go, you're fine. And you just get up there and you play, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, very similar to comedy.
I want to give you some gifts, my man.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the devotees and whatnot. This is the Bhagavad Gita, the pocket edition.
Hell
that's
yeah,
the original
dude.
translation. Yeah.
This is like the equivalent of the New Testament Psalms Bible.
It's essentially
but
like the New Testament. Yeah, the Bhagavad Gita is a section of the Mahabharata, which is like there you go. It's the Hindu, holy text, and so many people have read it. Thoreau, Emerson, Hitler. He really did. That's where the swastika comes from.
The Nazis fucked it up.
Well, first it was the Indians, and then it was the Chinese, and then it's a symbol of peace, you know. But the Nazis, they took it and they made it. They switched it 45 degrees, and you know, you see the pictures in there. Before
Beautiful
I
art.
first got it, did I?
What's that? Beautiful art.
Oh, I thought you said, did I fart?
No, I did not say. No.
Yeah, before I could read it, because I needed eyeglasses when I got it, I just looked at the pictures, you know, and kind of see the pictures, you know. So, yeah, I try to read from that every day. I'm not always successful at it, but, you know, it's a good little story. And if you've ever seen the movie Legend of Bagger Vance, that's essentially that's
I
the
love
Bhagavad
that
Gita.
movie.
Okay, good.
That's that. Can you explain how Legend of Bagger Vance connects to the Bhagavad?
I actually haven't seen the movie, but Matt Damon's character his name is Arjuna, which Arjuna is is the character in there, and Will Smith is essentially the Krishna character, you know.
Okay.
I should watch the movie.
It is an amazing movie.
Yeah.
In fact, it's written by the guy who wrote The War of Art, which is another fantastic book.
I keep hearing about that one.
Yeah, Stephen Pressfield.
Okay.
He wrote Legend of Bagger Vance, so kind of connecting it all, and that's great for any creative out there.
More shit to clutter it up. This is the TNF edition of the. Look on the back. TNF.
Dude,
that I got made at the mall. Yeah.
This is mine. You're giving this to me?
Yeah, dude.
Dude.
I've got way too many hats, and I don't really like the snapbacks too much. I like the fitted caps, but check this one out. This is I wanted to get you a TNF shirt, but we didn't have any in large. This is the death metal Mola Ram shirt.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Hell
Flash
yeah.
that one. Yeah, dude.
So
I think it glows in the
this,
dark.
who was
too.
this guy on here?
Oh, that was from Indiana Jones.
Oh,
you know the high priest in Kalima Shakti Day. Yeah. See, it says Mola Ram on it in like black metal font. You know.
Shit, yeah.
And what else I got?
Dude, thanks so much, man. This is
for
awesome.
Liz and Whitney, should they ever show up again, I got a few TNF podcast shirts. This one is cool because I don't really do colored shirts very often. They look like small, medium. I couldn't really tell, and they're probably gonna.
Oh my god, this is a girl. Look, I could give this to a girl.
You got it. Yeah, it could be a good gift. You know. Yeah, flash that one.
Hell yeah.
And this one's also a small. Liz, Whitney, what's up? If I dated them, I'd have to be a package deal, though. Both of them at the same time, because they were really funny. You know, I'd ultimately have to choose between the one. I'd have to choose between the one of them. This is my proposal to you guys, by the way. And see, here's the TNF original logo right there.
Yeah, I love this logo.
That was designed by Mr. Derek Buell or Buell. I can never remember his name. But and then I got a bunch of mediums and smalls. So.
Dude, this is super gracious, man.
This one's a V-neck cut. These were sported by some of the whores that I. That's not a good. That's not a good endorsement, but you know, that one's a V-neck cut, and they're just a lot of fun, you know.
Dude, yeah, I love this design. So you got a guy
blowing up the world because he's too preoccupied by a girl. It's kind of phallic too, in that. Pop, you see it?
Yeah, I do. I do. The mushroom cloud. Yeah, and the nice little dog just chilling.
That's my dog, Cherry.
That's your dog?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, thanks,
man.
So,
I came bearing gifts. It's something I always like to do for my guests and for, you know, appearing on somebody's show.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I have something for you.
Oh.
It's in my car.
Oh. Is it weed?
What's that?
Is it weed?
It's weed. You got me. No, it's not weed. It's I have some podcast T-shirts that
dude.
Yeah, I just printed like 20 of them.
Oh, sweet.
So you can't even really buy them anywhere. I thought about actually and I want to ask you about this because you run a merch company, and that's the other big thing you do, and we'll link that below.
Sure.
But yeah, I'll give you a shirt. But it's all it is it's a T-shirt with a little stand-up mic on the front, and then it's got the Hangman logo on the across the back. Just a white T-shirt. So.
I love this. I love your whole setup that you got here.
Appreciate
I think it's
it,
great.
Man.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Where did you get that made at?
The tablecloth. I forget where. There's companies that for my day job we do trade shows a lot, and they sell fitted, for booths and things like that.
Can you make like flags and stuff?
I'm sure you can.
Okay.
I'm sure you can.
I'm gonna have to talk to you about that because
Yeah.
I decommissioned the logo, the one with me and my angry face, and I want to get one. I've got like a G-rated one that's just me and the dog. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'll get you one of those.
we still never talked about the whores.
Yeah. Well, can I ask about your merch company first?
Sure.
Because, do you have an online store where people can purchase? Because I didn't.
So if you're interested in Hell's Heart Merch Co., that's what it's called. We do film T-shirts, and we do like hardcore bands and stuff like that. We've got a few vegan shirts on there if you're interested. It's Hell's Heart CO at Instagram, and then I have hellsheartco.bigcartel.com.
Okay, great. And all the designs are up there. You can, order online. It ships direct to you.
Yeah.
How hard was it to set that up? Because part of why I don't have it is because I just didn't fucking.
I got you, bro.
All right, we'll talk after.
Yeah, and I think that's all I got.
Dude,
whores.
Okay, let's talk about whores. So, what do you got to say about your sexcapades?
I'm done with them.
You're done.
That's all.
That's it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
Yeah. Was this LA time we're talking?
Yeah, this is definitely LA time. I came in.
And how many years were you living in LA?
Comprehensively about 6. I went there for 5, and then I left for about a year, and then I went back, and yeah, it was fun. I got to I got ultimate vindication. I talked about this a little bit on Nelson's podcast, but yeah, I got to hook up with some of my favorite porn stars, and it was a lot of fun.
Did you ever act in an adult film?
Maybe unknowingly, but no, I was trying to break into that. I was ready to go to. I'm not even kidding.
Trying to.
I went to. I had a ticket to AVN. I was gonna go with one of the girls. I asked her to go. She was.
What's
like
AVN?
Adult Video
Network?
News Network.
Yeah.
That's what it is, and they have an awards ceremony every year. And I decided not to go, and I'm glad I didn't get into that world. But yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was.
What are porn stars like in real life?
Just normal people.
Normal.
I mean, they're a little scattered, but the ones I hung out with were chill and cool.
Yeah.
And to my friends out there, if you're ever interested, I can put you onto a few that are actually in North Carolina. So. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, man.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about the horse? I
probably could have bought a new car.
What do you mean?
That's how much I spent.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
This is not a good endorsement for the girls that I'm about to give these shirts to.
No.
We're talking about sexual partners and stuff, but like I said, I'm done with dating and I'm done with whores and I'm ready to court.
He's ready to be.
I'm ready.
Make an honest.
I'm ready to link it up. I'm ready to put a ring on it. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's it, though. That's pretty much it. It was a fun experience. I got to kind of, stick my thumb out to my college and high school bullies and stuff. So it was great. I loved it.
What's your favorite movie of all time?
Oh, you had to do this to me.
Yeah.
Of all time.
Well, I have 2 recommendations for you based on today's conversation. Legend of Bagger Vance and MacGruber. You have to watch those. Okay,
I will
2.
watch MacGruber. God, it would have to depend on the genre.
Comedy. Start easy.
Naked Gun.
Naked Gun?
Naked Gun. Hands down. I can watch that like it's a brand new movie every time.
Is an OJ in that?
He is in that.
Yeah.
And he's pretty good at that.
He's pretty good at it.
OJ is doing podcasts again.
He is?
Yeah.
He has his own? Or is he guest?
He's been guesting on them. Yeah, you should try to get him. I bet you we would do it. I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
Dude, if I got OJ Simpson on here,
I think I could get him on TNF, truthfully.
I might have to have a couple people I don't want to get.
I'd be scorned by the world, but I think I could do it.
Yeah.
But, God.
Didn't he do the Full Send podcast?
Maybe that's what it was.
Those guys.
Kumia was talking about it on his.
Okay, yeah. Kumia's great, man.
He is great. He's here now.
Is he?
Yeah.
Greenville?
Yeah.
Shit, dude. We got to try and get Kumia.
Anthony Kumia.
Yeah, dude. That would be fantastic.
This guy.
Do you know Kumia?
I don't.
Oh,
I wish
fuck.
I did. I think he'd be a lot of fun to hang out with.
Yeah.
I mean, action, Hard Boiled, if you've ever seen that. It's one of the best action movies you'll ever see.
Hard Boiled.
It's with Chow Yun-fat. It's a John Woo movie. I mean, as far as like art house is concerned, Aguirre, The Wrath of God, which is it's a German movie which talks about Spanish conquistadors. It's got Klaus Kinski in it, who is one of my favorite fucking actors of all time. He's so good. He learned how to act in a POW camp. He was a German soldier in World War II, and he got thrown in a British POW camp.
Wow.
And they were allowed to do plays and performances, and that's where he learned to act.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that is crazy.
Sci-fi, I mean, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. It's so good. Love stories, romance movies, Punch Drunk Love.
Yeah.
The Fountain. Have you seen The Fountain?
Punch Drunk Love, Adam Sandler, right? And
yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah. What is it? The Fountain.
The Fountain with Hugh Jackman, Rachel Weisz.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. I really like Her. I just rewatched Her again.
I haven't seen it. Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh,
yeah.
Highly recommended.
And that's when he forms a relationship with an AI woman.
Oh, it's so sad, dude.
I bet.
It was. I watched it the other day by myself. I'm like, I'm so glad there's nobody here. You know.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking, and
Does
I
it make
just
you hop on Chat GPT and talk.
I just renamed. I named 3 romance movies, so maybe that's pretty telling. I don't know, but and then I don't know. Have I named it? Westerns, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Okay.
And I think that's about it, you know? One thing I wanted to do is give a shout out to all my friends. Here's somebody that you got to have if he's ever on the area. The next king of comedy, Joe Bando. That guy is hilarious, and he's really pushing the envelope as far as, you know, pushing back against kind of the woke comedy, you know, like your Hannah Gadsby's and your, who is that, Carmen Esposito's or whatever, you know. Not to talk trash on other comedians and whatnot, but I find that stuff to be vastly kind of whatever, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
And Schulte, of course, Todd Davis.
Yeah.
God, who else? Chubby Fresh, One Life Crew, Don Foose from Spud Monsters, Run Devil Run, One Life All In. I'm doing a shirt for Paris Mayhew from the Crow Mags, John Joseph from the Crow Mags, who really kind of blew my channel up. My folks, I'm kind of at odds with one of them right now, but you know, they've really been supportive of me, and
that's great.
Yeah.
Love your
know?
folks.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I love people. I love people more a lot than I used to, and I hope to continue to do great things, and I want to give a shout out to you, man, because you're doing great things, and like this guy's really grown as a podcast host. Like
Thanks,
he's just
bro.
Somebody was saying you're more kind of depressed or whatever, you know, or something. I was like, no, this guy's full of spirit. And
No,
vigor,
you
you know?
just, you know, whatever you're feeling that day sometimes comes out. But yeah,
Sure.
dude. No, it's
Yeah.
been, this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
The
I
show's
love
been
it,
great.
man. I love it. I love what you got going on. I love the title. That's why I wanted to have you on my show, man. I was like, that's clever.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's been great, dude. I
Hell
love it.
yeah.
I love life.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good, man.
I'm not going to kill myself.
You're not going to kill yourself. That's good. That's a
Yeah,
good
man.
note to wrap up on.
Yeah.
So, any specific other shout outs for like your channel and stuff? This will all be linked below.
Yeah,
But if you want to just.
it's TNF podcast. If you find it on YouTube, you can look for Tea and Fuckery, or you can look at TNF podcast. That's TNF Tango November Foxtrot podcast.
Is that available on all platforms like Spotify and.
Just YouTube right now, but I'm migrating it over to other ones like Rumble and
Rumble?
Yeah, I'm gonna
that's where
have
you
it on
gotta go.
audio and whatnot. Rumble seems to you get better response on there.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Hell's Heart Co., which we mentioned earlier. I started a yoga line called 10th Canto, which is only on Instagram right now, and I also started a vegan kind of a charity group called Vegan Archangels, which you can find on Instagram. I want to say it's The Vegan Archangels, but if it's not, I'll post the right link on there. I haven't really done much with 10th Canto and Vegan Archangels. I'm putting out a record, One Life Cruise, Crime Ridden Society. We're releasing it on vinyl, and dude, I got so much going on. I got so much on my plate.
Dude.
It's beautiful.
Tons of stuff.
Yeah, dude.
Good shit.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jay, thanks for coming on.
Dude.
Follow this guy.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate you.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. See you next time.
Once that day was done, ain't got no more boats to run. Once that day was done, ain't got no boats to run. Once that day was done, ain't got no more boats to run. Once that day was done.